everyone. Both Oriol and I are in Barcelona, though in different locations. And we're very excited to tell you about this book that we both co-authored.
Yeah.
So let's get started. So first of all, let me introduce here Oriol Patrecasas. Oriol is the president of the Instituto Lean Management here in Barcelona. Some of the best examples of lean thinking that I've seen in the past 12 years came from Oriol. So you're in for a treat if you join this session.
Well, it's not my merit. It's about the customers. It's not about me.
But yeah, you had the part. You did your part. You did your part. But yes, absolutely. Like there are amazing teams of people here working to improve organizations. We're going to be talking about one of the latest books that the Lean Global Network has published. It's called Upgrade to Hospitality Excellence. And I'm going to let Oriol say a few words about it, and then we're going to get started with some back and forth.
Okay. So thank you very much. Well, first, we are four authors. So it's Cristina and Lalis, also Roberto and Oriol. Okay, we're all of us because probably all of us participated in different ways in the last 7, 10, 12 years in this industry, in the hospitality industry. And we want to, I don't know how to say, maybe translate, maybe fix, maybe place all these lean concepts, especially for this industry, for the hospitality industry, because of course there are some things which is different. But again, there are a lot of things which are the same as any other industry. And I think that this is why this book is quite interesting. Okay, so I think that today we can talk about this book in 3 different levels. First, there is a story. It's a novel. After that, there is a practitioner book. So if you want to know how to do something in this book, we can find that. So how to fix a kitchen, how to manage a restaurant, how to standardize a front desk. So all these small things here in this book, you will find probably some answers or a way to find these answers. And then the third layer is about management, because this story that I will let Roberto explain about this story is about a man that needs to manage a hospital and how to manage and do at the same time a lean transformation. This is not easy. And probably through the book, we give the different steps, or which are the steps that we think that we can help you to establish any transformation. In this case, it's in an hotel, but really it can be done anywhere. So Roberto, I think that you have a lot of part of guilty on that. Tell us about the story. Which is the story that we can find in this book?
Yes. So this was the most fun part of writing this book, of course, because we decided to communicate it primarily as a novel, in the sense that like people can just like pick up the book and just go through it, and there is a story, there's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it's the story specifically of Alex, who is a healthcare executive from Barcelona, who gets a phone call from his brother, who is the manager of a hotel in the Canary Islands in Tenerife. And Alex's brother is really struggling. The hotel is not doing very well. Money is not coming in. Customers are complaining all the time. And so Alex decides that, you know, it's time for him for a change in his life. And so he decides to take on his brother's offer. And he moves to Tenerife, and he starts to, first of all, observe what's going on. And of course, he notices that this place knows nothing about lean. It's all, you know, there's all kinds of problems. He experiences these problems firsthand. So he goes there as a customer first to try and study the situation incognito without anyone knowing that he's actually the new boss. And he starts to observe, and he sees all kinds of things. And then the story goes on, and it really goes through his process as the new leader of the transformation. And all of the challenges that he experiences, the fact that like he encounters resistance from some of the people. He finds some people who are early adopters. We normally call them early adopters, like the ones that immediately resonate with the lean methodology and decide to embrace it right away. and they become kind of like Alex's biggest supporters, and they help him a lot in managing to ensure that lean really permeates the organization. And so the book follows Alex throughout a year as he tries to implement lean and really turn around this hospital. And it's very interesting because there are all kinds of characters, of course, that people, I think, will get that we really love to read about, because, you know, some of they're really funny characters. They're like very colorful characters, and they accompany Alex throughout the whole story. Some of them, of course, are department heads, but you also have clients, and Alex likes to interact with clients and find out what they think. He wants the voice of the customer to always inform his actions. But of course, so this is the part, you know, that's the story. But like Oriol said, there is much more to the book, and that's the manual part, let's say, the very practical part that really helps people to do it themselves, right?
Yeah. So the second part, so just to share with you, this is the look and feel of the book. So of course we have the story, here is all the text, but it's chopped continuously with a lot of tools. A3s, spaghettis, value stream mappings, all this lean stuff, and how to practically implement it in this case, it's an hotel. And we choose an hotel because an hotel has probably most of the different parts that we can find in hospitality. We can find restaurants, we can find bars, we can find entertainment, we can have, of course, kitchens, we can have even spas. So we have, it's a quite complete hotel where we can find all these different parts that we can find in the hospitality industry. And each of them are seen with these different characters that Roberto was explaining as something individual. So in every chapter, we start with one part of this hotel. For example, in chapter 2, we start with the kitchen, okay? And this kitchen problem starts in chapter 2 and ends in chapter 3. And then in chapter 3, we start probably with, I don't know, the spa, and we finish in chapter 4. So each of the parts of the hotel are interpreted or can be related to just 2 chapters. So if you want to know how to improve a kitchen, just reading 2 chapters, probably this is enough. But I hope that you want to see all the other. And just for example, this is what happens at the very beginning, as we don't want to unveil all the book, but as Roberto was saying, when Alex arrived to the hotel, he was in a little incognito. He was following the customer journey. So they make something like a customer journey map. And one of the first things that we help is to identify the 7 ways. So immediately, the first night, Alex cannot sleep without putting in the mirror of the room where he was staying. He put in the mirror the 7 ways. So here we can find the 7 ways, the very common, the very lean 7 ways, and in each of them, in the different parts, okay, in reception, in the pool bar, in a cafe, in the entertainment, in the rooms, in the buffet, in the restaurant, in the spa, the different, let's say, ways, the different problems that he found. And we really encourage you to follow this path. Of course, also, it was a long night. Alex made a little value stream map, following a customer journey map and how the hotel try to react, try to answer to this customer journey map. So I'm trying to understand from the value of the customer how we're doing things, and we call it flow interruptions, which is all the problems that are continuously interrupting the journey of the customer. As we said in this book, we have the story, here is the story, but also we have these practical things. Each of these tools are described in a very small and, let's say, smart way. For example, here we explain what is this tool called value stream mapping. And here it's how to apply this value stream mapping. So we can read the book as a novel, excellent, very good, with a lot of pictures, but also we can read it from the practitioner point of view, with the description of the tools and how to apply these tools specifically to hospitality, okay? Another tools that we can see, there is a lot of them, is the A3. The A3 has a charter for each of the changes. And here we understand why we want to change that, for example, here in the perfect room delivery. So how to make the room, which is the actual situation, what needs to be changed, how to make this tool, this A3. We have some analysis with the very famous 5 whys, trying to understand the root causes. So there is a lot of lean methodology embedded in this book. Proposed situation, here we talk about standards, pull systems. We explain how to make pull systems in hospitality, for example, with the food, which is lovely, really. How to make a plan, how to make a practical plan. So here we encourage you to apply that. You want to apply this, so here you have your instructions, your manual on how to do that. And what do you can expect, which is the metrics, which is the follow-up, what we expect to improve in the practical point of view, so in the very small point of view. As we said, we have a lot of value stream maps, and we have quite a lot of value stream maps in pull systems, because pull systems is something that in hospitality works fantastic, works very, very, very well. It helps us to manage the work, but also it helps us to control all the waste, and wasting time, wasting food, wasting in money. So I think that this second layer of the book is very, very, very interesting for all of you that are really inside the hospitality industry, and can be very, very helpful to apply. But also, Roberto, we have a third layer.
Yes, that's right. I guess it's the more transformation related layer. It's the overall lean transformation of an organization. And you know what one of the things I love about this book is that, like you mentioned, you know, it doesn't really matter whether you don't need to run a hotel to find this book useful. It can be a department in a hotel, it can be a bar, a restaurant, a spa, all kinds of things. You know, what doesn't change, we know, you know, in a lean transformation, the principles remain the same. Of course, the setting and the Gemba changes, but it's interesting in the book, you can follow, like I mentioned, Alex's evolution through this transformation, his own learnings. Actually, one of my favorite things is that at the end of every chapter, he has a phone call with his sensei, who's, you know, her name is Rosa, and she works in the hospital where he used to work before moving to the Canary Islands. And so at the end of every book, there are his reflections as the leader, the architect of this transformation, let's say. And he kind of has this exchange all the time. And he looks for reassurance and advice from another lean leader that went for the same thing. And so it's this really holistic view that you can get with this book that I find really interesting. So this to me is a very unique publication, I really have to say. And yes, definitely. We talked about these 3 layers. I don't know, Oriol, if you wanna continue with that. One more thing I haven't mentioned is, if there are any questions, guys, please ask them in the chat, and you know, at the end of the session, if we have time, we're gonna answer them.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, that's right. So you can start populating the chat. So at the end, we will try to have 5 minutes, probably a little more on that, in order to answer some questions. So as Roberto said, we have this first layer, that's the story, very good story. I think that you will enjoy that. We have this second layer that if you take these 2 chapters for every of the practitioners, you will find how to fix a kitchen, how to fix a front desk, how to improve your room delivery, how to improve the maintenance department, how to improve a spa, how to improve a bar, all these different things. But also the chapters have a implementation story, so have a management story, how to implement lean, how to make lean, and as Roberto said, in any place. For example, the first chapter that is called Back to the Island, here what we talk is, which is your first impression, what is your wishes, what usually managers find when they try to make a transformation in any organization. Second chapter, it's named A Difficult First Encounter. And here we talk about how to prepare the team, how to embrace the team, how you can lead the team in order to make this transformation, because without the team, you cannot do any transformation. And here there is different stories and different characters about that. Third chapter, it's called Define Value for Guests. because everything, first principle of Lean, starts with the customer value. How to define the customer value, how to understand the customer value. This is why it is the third chapter. Fourth chapter is called the perfect cup of tea, because we have to start with standards, okay? Instead, in order to create a stabilization, how we can create the different standards in different places of the hotel, that it's one of the first, let's say, transformations that you have to do in an implementation. Then the next one is one of my favorite, it's the omelette charm, that it's when things begins to work. So when the wheel begins to spin and things happens everywhere, Lean is flourishing, how to control that, how to embrace that, how to, let's say, promote that from the managing point of view. Next one is now, okay, we have to connect all these standards, we have to connect all the charm, and we have a full chapter for pull systems, okay? How to pull, how to connect the different parts of a kitchen, the different parts of a restaurant, the different parts of a bar, the different parts of a full hotel with connection of pull. Okay, we have the standards, we have everything connected. So next chapter, it's called Hungry for Improvement. That means that now the continuous improvement have to start. After that, we have cross-pollination. Okay, we're doing very good, and now it's time to have some inspiration from outside that probably you are going to do with this book. So the next one is a study mission that they do it again in Catalonia, they do it again in Barcelona, and they go to see different things like 365 coffee shops, that it's a real place, very good place here in Barcelona, or they go, for example, to the old hospital here. So they saw hospitals, they say coffee shops, in order to get some inspiration. Because really, as they can get inspiration from any other industry, really, this book can be read by any other industry, because at the end, it's how to make a transformation. Well, this transformation cannot sustain without what we call this horizontal view. So at the end, the last two chapters, we're going to make all this management sustainability, how to apply in a very easy way all this management sustainability. And the last one, that is called A Hoshin Christmas, with a surprise, with something that happens on the last chapter that we are not going to talk. And also talking about management, of course, we have all these standards. The very famous Mojito standard is inside this, an Easter egg, it's inside of this book. So if you know that there is something special, is the Lean Mojito. But also we talk about customers, how customers, we have real reviews of some of these transformations, and also what to expect from the economic point of view. So we have the P&L, 3 different P&Ls, real P&Ls of this hotel, and how they evolve, where to invest, how to invest, what to expect in return from this management point of view. So it's really, even from the management point of view, very, 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 very practical, Roberto.
Absolutely, yes. I think that I mean, I find it every time, we wrote it. I was part of the team who wrote it, but like every time I look back at this book, I'm so happy with how it turned out, because I really think that it's an incredibly valuable tool. Like whether you want to learn about a lean tool, whether you want to look about the kind of like general trajectory that you can expect if you carry out a transformation in a hospitality setting in this way, in the way that is indicated in this book, it's absolutely a wonderful tool.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I'm trying to move something. I have here the questions and answers in my screen. Okay, and well, we have some inspiration, and these are inspiration. Yes. Okay, so in fact, you can apply to any bar. You can apply to any hotel of the world. Doesn't needs to be big or small, but if there is some inspiration, is this inspiration, then in fact, this who sponsored these books, that is the Dream Place Hotels. So thank you very much for, it's not only them, it's half fiction, half reality, and not everything happens in these hotels, but of course has been a big inspiration. Not only what they provide, but also all the work that is in this bag. And why this industry? Why this industry? Because probably this industry, hospitality, is the one that is more connected with the customer. So sometimes when you arrive, I don't know, to an hotel and you find a lot of queue, and then your thinking is, really? After 4 hours traveling, playing, whatever, I have to wait? But what is the worker point of view? Really, everybody has to come at the same time. So finally, what happens? We need more resources, more queues, more waiting, inventory. Well, also, usually, I don't know if it's your experience, but this is my experience when I go always to my room. The room is always being tidy or with maintenance guys. So during the day, sometimes I feel that I cannot use my room. But from the worker point of view, they say, oh my God, I cannot clean that. I have to change my plan. I have to come here again. More reward, more problem. That doesn't mean at the end that we cannot do early check-in, we cannot do early checkout, and we need more people. Also, sometimes when you go to the buffet or you have a la carte, they say, oh, I don't know, my cannelloni is missing. What I'm going to do without my cannelloni? Because I don't know, Roberto, if it's your what happens to you, but for me, always what I want always is missing. It's a
Never, yeah, it's a Murphy's law. Like, always when you want something, it's not there.
very bad luck, very bad luck. But also on the other side, when you ask to the cooks what happens, say, I cannot cook everything at the same time. It seems that everything is empty at the same time. So we are forced to make bigger food batches, okay, with less variety, so we have less lack of things. But at the end, all this food that you cook, what is going to happen with them? Probably it's trashed, which is terrible to see your world trashed. And then something strange, you go to the swimming pool and really now, middle in the morning, you have to fix the swimming pool. There is no better time, maybe by night to do that. But when you talk with the workers, they say, oh my God, everything is at the same time. And where is the priority? The priority is to fix the kitchen and food the people, or priority is the swimming pool? Probably priority is the kitchen. So when to do swimming pool? When you have an space. So what happens? Unfinished tasks with quality and properly done on time and done tasks. Okay, if we read these problems is not in hospitality. But in hospitality is very, very, very clear linked customer, worker, organization. So this triangle. This why it makes so interesting to make that on hospitality, Roberto.
That's very good. Actually, there was, one of the questions in the chat was about this, if there is anything that would surprise a lean practitioner who is used to other industries, all of a sudden finds himself in a hospitality gemba. So, like, to me, having visited a few hotels, it's very interesting that it's a million gembas in one. You have you compare the work of the housekeeping, for example, to the work of a nurse in a hospital, with the carts and moving around and cleaning rooms. It's very similar. And then, of course, you have kitchens and bars, which you would find outside of hotels as well. It's a million gambas in one. Do you agree?
Yeah. When you compare a kitchen with a chirurgical theater, it's incredible the same. So you have to prepare all the instrumental, everything has to be clean and tidy, even it's frozen in order to don't grow bacteria. And of course you have some meat to be cutted. So there is a lot of the similarities. Also with industry, all the processes with the customers. The only thing that in hospitality, everything happens more quick, okay? Because a car, maybe we have some hours as a lead time, but a stick doesn't have these hours. And we have the just in time, but food has even more just in time. So this is why this industry is so interesting. I don't know
That's
if you
right.
want to collect another question, Roberto.
Yes, that's right. So, well, we have a couple that I think are interesting. So one is, why isn't lean applied in many more hotels and similar hospitality organizations?
Well, I think that there are different answers. First answer is that it's quite new in hospitality. So lean even it's quite new. It's in the industry maybe 20 years ago. not for car industry, but for the industry. In healthcare, probably it arrived 10 years ago, and it's spreading very, very quick. And probably in hospitality, the big groups, we know that they have started some few years ago, but for the general purpose, it's not in this way. And also, most of the hotels, restaurants, and bars in the world, they are small or micro companies. They are very, very small, even few people in the management. And probably this explains a little because they don't have time to read this book. But this is why we make also this book as practical as possible in order that people can apply and say, oh, this is working. And maybe they are wishing to apply more. Lean works very, very well with practice. It's a lean thinking and practice. So to practice, probably this will help.
That's right. We have another question here, Oriol. I work in hospitality, and I agree that they're not lean savvy. I find that they are hard to get used on anything other than reactive work, not proactive, how to get their attention. And I think this is arguably it's a problem that you can find in many industries. But I think that really what I love about lean is how universal these principles are, and like, you know, both the problems and the solutions, like, you know, they kind of apply across the board to different industries. And I think it's just a matter of maybe tweaking the way that you communicate it to make sure that people understand what you're talking about based on the setting that they work in. There are a couple of very nice comments in there, like somebody's saying that Agnes is saying that she used to work in a spa department and she wishes that this book was out when she did. But one more question.
There is the spa there. And also, I want to add to the first question that you did, that also one of the problems is that lean sometimes is counterintuitive. So, for example, most of the kitchens of the world try to prepare everything in advance in order that when the customers arrive, I have everything ready for the customers, that I don't have problems with the customers. But really, this creates a lot of waste. We're going to say later, if you follow us in the experiment presentation, but if you cut a tomato during the morning, what it's called the mise en place, then you have to put it in a container, you have to film it, you have to put traceability, then you have to put it in the chiller, and later you have to go to the chiller, take out this container, open the container, and put the tomatoes in the dish. This is a lot of work.
That's right.
It's much more work. Just cut the tomatoes and put it on just in time on the salad. But oh my God, you have a heart attack. You want to have everything ready for the customer, even if this creates a lot of waste, a lot of problems, and a lot of time. What about if we use this time in order to serve the customer? We use all of this for the customer. In some of the hotel restaurants where they apply lean, they are moving of having 4 or 5 hours people doing mise en place and 4 or 5 hours people serving. No, it's much better to have 10 hours people serving without mise en place. Right. Okay, but this is counterintuitive, and I don't want to say any solution, because most of us will say, no, yes, but and we have a lot of alibis always with this. That's right. So that's why we need this book.
That's right. The book explains very well, actually, why it's counterintuitive and how you can kind of like turn it around, and what the kind of like aha moment that people have when they realize, actually, it's so much better to do this just in time. It's easier for everyone and it's better for the customer. One final comment, we need to finish, unfortunately, but one final thing that I wanted to say, not really a question, more like a comment, is that, you know, somebody asked, were they able to sustain the results? And the answer is, well, for now, yes. We'll see if there is a part 2 of the book. But what I want to say is that this book is inspired by real life examples that Oriol and the rest of the team have been involved with across Spain and further afield. So they're based really on real transformations. And so this book is not just like we made up a journey. This is a real transformation.
Yeah. And now we hope that you can share with us a lot of examples. So read this book, but apply this book. Apply this book. Go to our web, Hotel Tacnara, that is the name of this fictional hotel, and share your comments and share your success with us. It will be the best return of this book. Thank you very much for being today with us, and we hope to see you later in an hour and a half, something like that, in the experiment restaurant, because how to apply that? Let's see that.
Right. That's right. Don't miss this presentation from Oriol on the main stage in a little while. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and thank you, Oriol, for talking to us.
Bye. See you.
Bye. Goodbye.